Let's practice our knife skills and make bruschetta. I've got a bowl here, a spoon, my ingredients, my bread of course. I'm using ciabatta because that's all I had at home. And my pan that I've lined with foil. We also have 3 knives. We have a bread knife. It's serrated on the bottom for bread. Our chef's knife. And I have a little steak knife too. Let's get started. If your cutting board's moving around, that's not good, so make sure you stabilize it with a wet towel. For our bread, we're gonna cut it on a bias, but first, I need my olive oil on my pan. We're gonna use our bread knife for this. Use those knife safety skills. Always make sure your other hand is in the claw, your guiding hand. And we're gonna cut this on a diagonal or a bias. My slices are about maybe a little less than 1/2 inch thick. You can eat the sides of the bread for a snack if you want to. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put my bread on my oiled pan, and then I'm gonna flip them over. That way both sides have a little bit of olive oil. Sprinkle with a little bit of salt. It makes it taste better. Into the oven. This takes about 10 minutes to toast up. In the meantime, let's make our topping. I have my olive oil here with some balsamic vinegar, my tomatoes, I've got some garlic, basil, olives. So I'm gonna use my steak knife for my cherry tomatoes. I like to cut them into 1/8 or quarters. I use the tunnel method to do this. That's about how big you want them. Let's take a closer look. In half again, and these are pretty big, so I cut them in half at other time. Be super careful with your fingertips. In the bowl. Now we're gonna cut up our olives a little bit differently. These are kalamata olives, super good. We're gonna use our chef's knife for this. Use that claw. I'm gonna go ahead and slice these up. And you can leave them like this, but I'm gonna rough chop through them as well, which looks a lot like a mince. We're not going quite as small as a mince. I would still call this a rough chop. Be very careful with that chef's knife. Now it's time for our garlic. Put it on the cutting board, smash it with the side of the knife, and take off the peel. Now we're definitely gonna mince this, so I start with a slice, and then I mince through it, nice and fine. You could use 2 garlic cloves if you want to, but this one was pretty big, so I just did 1. In the bowl. Now our basil. We're gonna do a new knife cut called a chiffonade. We're gonna stack the basil on top of itself. I use the largest leaves on the bottom. Then you're gonna roll it up, and we're gonna cut it into super thin strips. My fingers kind of look like a bird beak. Super fun chiffonade. In the bowl we go. That's what it looks like. Now I need to add some extra olive oil and balsamic. Stir that up. Don't forget to season it. Some salt and pepper to taste. Yum, it's perfect. Oh, our bread's done. Remember, your pan's hot. It's just gonna be lightly toasted. It'll still be a little soft in the center. Use a spatula, transfer it to plates, and top it with your tomato mixture. And there's our bruschetta.